Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Riven. This is I think the last journal in the game. Gehn's journal in his workshop on 233. A very strange workshop. A very strange room. A very strange age. And we're going to read this journal and poke around Gehn's private effects here. And then we're going to continue on. And see if we can solve this game. We have captured Gehn, trapped him in the trap book, finally. And incidentally, if you didn't follow or didn't lead him into the trap book, he would give you a couple more chances before he would just kill you. And that's a game over. I start this latest journal with the astounding news: Catherine has returned to the Fifth Age. And though it sets my teeth on edge to say it, she has also vanished as quickly as she appeared, stolen from me by the rebels. As my guard tells it, she linked into the Fissure Plateau cage just as I had surmised, when suddenly he was set upon by a band of rebels who darted him and spirited her away. I suspect the truth of the matter was that he was so dumbfounded at actually witnessing somebody link in after all this time, that he presented an easy target for whichever rebel happened to be nearby, the damnable luck of it all. He did get a good enough look at her, though, to verify that it was indeed Catherine. He also claims that he inspected all of her belongings and found no linking books on her person, a fact I find hard to believe, but if true, makes the question of why she's returned here all the more puzzling. I am sick with frustration at knowing, or having lost the only quarry that cage has ever caught. I am also filled with hope that she may yet provide me with a way back to Dunny. It's true that I have managed, despite overwhelming odds, to break free of the confines of the Fifth Age and resume my mission to save my culture from extinction. But I fear that unless I am able to regain access to the vast resources that live in the city's ruins, the task of resurrecting that great civilization will be impossible. If Catherine did bring a linking book with her, then I am halfway there. If not, then she's trapped in the Fifth Age, and I can only assume that my emotionally crippled son will soon be along to rescue her. Either way, it's crucial to my plans that I find her soon. Her presence here now forces me to take the rebels more seriously. I should never have permitted them to survive this long. Once again, the Great Wark has demonstrated its usefulness to me. The villagers have been difficult to manage in the wake of Catherine's arrival, and their fear of this mythic beast has been all that has kept them in line. Had I known how truly useful these prodigious creatures would prove to be, I would have captured more of them while the local population was still plentiful. Although, to be sure, if these disturbances continue, my current pets will be in no danger of perishing for lack of nourishment. So after Catherine arrived, I'm not sure how far back that was. I think the kids were in the linking. Yeah, I don't know. The continuity gets messy. The search for. He started writing Catron. Catherine continues. I deeply regret my mistake of having ever taught these primitive people anything at all about the books. It seems that with each passing day, I more sorely realize the extent to which they were not ready for that knowledge, not even in the simplified manner in which I presented it to them. Their minds adapted only to the exceptionally menial tasks of village life, were incapable of comprehending the art in all its complexity, and were thus unable to glean any of the underlying principles that are, ironically, so elegantly simple. It's obvious that so much of the discord that exists between us stems from their failure to grasp the meaning of the information I gave them. If they'd been able to gain even the smallest glimpse of the glorious future I had planned for them, this conflict would not exist. The minds of the children, however, are much more malleable. With the proper tutelage, they have developed a more appropriate posture towards the culture that has given them their lives. At times, they take to it almost as if they had a bit of Dunny blood in them. Given the natives' inborn limitations, however, I am quite careful that none of them gain a level of understanding that would permit them to turn to sin against their future the way Catherine did. How foolish I was to think that she could wield such knowledge responsibly, when it was quite clear that my own son could not. Okay. Pause here. Catherine, I've mentioned, is Rivenese, and she is also a writer of books. And she has a very different style than Atris, but I think Atris respects her as at least an equal, if not a superior, talent. Atris, still he remains one of the greatest disappointments of my life. I should never have left him with my mother. By the time I'd returned for him, he had already been poisoned as to all thoughts of aiding me in my noble mission. Perhaps that was the only way she could soften the fact that she had been responsible for the collapse of the entire civilization. So much destruction, so many great lives lost, the guilt must have been unbearable. She did seem to love my father and our world, but ultimately she was an outsider whose ignorance of the Dunny became the catalyst for their demise. If I am able to rebuild our culture, and in the process correct such weaknesses, then perhaps what she did was ultimately necessary, in order that a new and stronger era of prosperity might someday come to pass. And he's referring to events in the first or the second Mist book. I forget which one now. It's been a while. But there was a xenophobic faction within the Dunny that when Anna discovered a path to the Dunny, because they live in caves under New Mexico. She found the path from the cave into the Dunny caverns. Got into trouble, was rescued by a Dunny man, I believe. It's been a while. And then he tried to integrate her into Dunny society, but the xenophobes were not having it. And we see that in culture today, to an unhealthy extent. And I'm not going to go any further into it than that. But yeah, read the Mist novels, and you'll see how the Dunny civilization actually did fall. Right, I have been increasingly beset by images from the past these last few weeks. As I stood in the schoolroom today, I was reminded of my own childhood. The years I spent in the Bookmakers Guild, Father's immense pride at each of my small accomplishments there. He was an important man in the Dunny world, but I cannot bear to think of him for long. It's too much. I was too young to see such things. Okay. So this is the first month, and this is the second month, and fairly late on the 13th. And this is the 4th. So this is a month and a half later. I have her. Late last night, I received word that Catherine had been apprehended while attempting to persuade some of the villagers to join her. I lost a few men in the process, but I would have gladly paid 100 times that number for such a prize. Oh, what a jerk. She's been imprisoned in my old office, where I've been attempting to gain insight as to the reason for her return. I have had to fight the all but constant impulse to put her on the gallows, as she has adopted the most infuriating stance of only answering my questions, when she answers them at all, in her native tongue. Even so, she's a poor liar. I am now certain that her return to Riven was unintentional, and that she brought no linking book with her. As far as her willingness to share with me the location of the moiety, we shall see. Without their leader, however, they are once again powerless against me. If Catherine's coming here was indeed an accident, then Atris is bound to come for her. That's a given. The question I must now consider is, how will he attempt it? It is likely that his hesitation is due, at least in part, to this dilemma. Too many L's, too many M's. One way or another, though, he'll have to bring a linking book to get back. There's no other way. Months later, this was second month, and this is 6th. It's late, and I cannot sleep. I've lost so much in my life, my people, my father, my son, and you, my wife, Kita. You are the only true kindness I have ever known. Watching you flicker there in the imager, I sometimes wonder if you were real. If I could restore your life with my pen, I would do so in an instant, and leave the rest of the world to their own wretched fate. I would be well advised to leave all these savages in the Fifth Age and begin again with a clean sheet of paper. A stranger has arrived in Riven with a linking book to Dunny, and once again my useless minion was overtaken by the rebels. From what little I could decipher of his muddled explanation, it apparently occurred sometime this morning. The cage mechanism has been damaged, but that is no matter. Everything I need is here now. Atris is certainly behind this, but why would he send someone else in his stead, and with a linking book no less? Surely he would have guessed that I would be waiting for him. Such recklessness is unlike him. Could it be that he's had a change of heart toward me? That after all these years he's finally decided to let his poor old father go? Ha, I know all too well where his loyalties lie. He is only after one thing. Perhaps the stranger should find her. For now, I need only to wait and observe. I'm beginning to think it was a mistake to allow the stranger to roam freely about the island. In their ignorant probing, they attempted to power the damaged drawbridge from Temple Island, and the entire bridge collapsed. Trivial loss at this point, but it irks me all the same. Had I not yet managed to free myself from that crumbling age, it would have hampered my progress severely. But again, it's no matter now. The day will soon come when I will be done with Riven forever. Yep, that's me. Is this the same day? D-1? So I've been here for 6 days. 5 days now. Disconcerting news. Last night, a group of maintainers happened upon a lone rebel scout and were able to engage him long enough to learn of a most implausible device, a crystal window supposedly capable of amending my linking books, much the way that my own remarkable system does, but with one slight advantage. It's small and weighs only a few pounds, making it entirely portable. If this outlandish claim is true, then the artifact in question must be something that Catherine fabricated prior to her capture, no doubt from an explicit Dunny schematic she brought with her. If only I'd had that access to such a document all these years. The portent of this revelation is deeply troubling. Some years ago, the rebels managed to abscond with a dysfunctional linking book I'd intended to destroy. The book was never recovered, but once they had sufficiently atoned for this sacrilege, I graciously decided to let the matter slide, thinking that in their inept hands it could do me no harm. But if Catherine has indeed empowered them with such a device, the rebels may well have linked to another age. It also means that 233 is no longer safe. This cannot stand. The stranger is the key to all of this. Tracking their movements has given me a good idea of where this rebel linking book and the crystal may be hidden, but before I can deal with that, I must secure the linking book back to Dunny. Everything hinges upon that. If I can regain access to my arsenal of resources there, I will happily leave the whole of Riven to its own dismal future. And then we have imager codes. Kita, father, and Anna. His mom, he writes her name and not title. So Kita is 5. Father is 2, 3. And Anna is 2, 3, 5. And I'll show you a little trick to reading the Dunny numbers here in a few minutes. In fact, let's see if we can do that now. And we're going to just draw over them in red. So 1. I need a bigger marker here. 1, 2, 3, 4 is kind of on its side, 4, and then 5 is the one rotated. Some of you are smacking yourself in the forehead now. Why didn't I see that? It took me reading about that. So Kita
Kagamem, San Botegan Shem. Fasi.
She doesn't speak English or whatever language we're doing here, so this is 5. All right, if we do 2, 3, we can see father. Atris the Elder.
Now, my turn. You want to record something so always you will remember. What is English for scramape? Scum from above. Your appearance should have inspired us to a better future. What does it mean for us as a people if we cannot embrace worlds outside our own? You were an angel from above. Always you will be my angel from above.
I think that was addressed to Anna and not to Gehn. And then 235 is supposed to be Anna, his mother, Adris's grandmother who raised him.
An angel. Your angel. An angel of death. The Denis Council knew it. They knew. If I hadn't tried to force my own ideals on your world, you would still be alive. You would still be alive. I wanted a life full of magic, full of books that bridged worlds, that lit up the darkness like stars. The possibilities were endless. It's just us now. You'll never have the life you should have had. Somehow my love and compassion, it took that. I don't know how. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Again.
Yeah. The story of Dunny is not a happy story. I'm just kind of wondering about the idea of xenophobes writing books that link them to new worlds when they don't like those new worlds. And I get the idea from Myst 5 and from Uru that they came as conquerors more so than explorers like Atris seems to have. Okay, but there's some kind of combination stored here that we need to rescue Catherine. So we're going to look for that in the next episode, because that is plot progression and not journal reading and backstory stuff. So we will come back here next time and find that combination. So thanks for watching, and tune in next time.